Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to twitch.tv/reversalgg. We are here for the EX Roundup, our weekly talk show. Tyrant, what's up? I see you have the skateboard behind. Did you get one?
Oh,
Bison.
yeah.
That's new.
Yeah, we got Bison, man. I've had that for a while, to be honest.
I've never seen it.
I just found it again the other day and I was just like, let's go, man. We got to have it. We're talking about Street Fighter. Let's bring out the Street Fighter stuff, you know?
I might as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a good one, man. Just finished streaming maybe a little while ago. Was hanging out with the crew there. And yeah, man, ready for the roundup. We've got a lot to talk about today.
A lot to talk about indeed, guys. Here are the points of the day. Of course, we'll talk quickly about our own reversal events with currently Renegade running on DNF Monday. Then talk about the DNF Duel patch note without an S. It's one note. We'll talk about that note together.
Yeah, that's a real doozy. I don't know if we're gonna have time, man. I don't know if we got time.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'll try to read everything for you, but it's gonna be kind of hard. The Coast Throwdown prize pool, something to discuss about this, and then we have two guests joining in the name of Javits and Flawless Deku, joining us a bit later to talk first about the famous cheat box, the hitbox, the cheat box, call it however you want. But shut up! Do you have one? Did you? Oh my God. He has left us.
I've been practicing on it now and then, like just so I can have a real, you know, like a real say on the discussion.
Yeah, But that's good. It's needed, you know. Like I really want to like try it out at least. Now I played it a bit like at a friend's or stuff, but yeah, eventually I need to like give it a try. No one is safe indeed, Vagari. And then a huge focus on Street Fighter 6 because we have two of the lab monsters who have been putting a ton of effort on you know, trying to understand all of Street Fighter 6, and we'll talk a lot about this. But let's start with the one and only Renegades. Renegades, our little weekly DNF Duel event with one champion in Europe. Can Mystic lose, Darren? Because he won again, but that's what, his third, fourth?
Way too good. I think it was 7-0 as well. I'm pretty sure it was 7-0. Yeah, Mystic is just actually broken. Like, way too good, man. Way too good. But yeah, man, it was a really good showing. We had some great performances from everybody. Yeah, man, it was a good Renegade for sure, and that's what it comes down to. It's just about who could beat Mystic. Regardless of these guys that make it through the bracket, it doesn't look like anyone's been able to really bring the heat. So I don't think Mystic's going to be losing that Renegade anytime soon. Yeah,
it's kind of impressive, right? Renegade is only champions, guys. Only tournament winners are invited to Renegade to become the champ of the champ, and so far, Mystic, the UK-based player, is the undefeated champ in Europe. On the American side is Diaphone, who will be back on Monday to defend his title. Who is the one challenging him? Because he was not there last week, right?
Let me just remind myself who that was.
I'm trying to think.
Right here. Yeah, I can't quite remember.
That was the one after versus fighting, right?
Yeah. God, I was so tired from versus fighting that it's hard for me to actually
zombie streaming.
Yeah, literally, and it was like 2 a.m. I think by the time we got to that game.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous anyway. Diaphone, bro, this guy as well. Diaphone and Mystic, I want to see those two face off sometime down the line because the Hitman mirror. I want to see it for sure.
We need to make it happen eventually. It's definitely a very fun one. To have. But of course, guys, DNF is every Monday. Renegade is one of our marquee events. Plenty coming, including Renegade very soon to be announced, moving towards other games as well, because we're not planning to run it only on DNF. Plenty of events are being cooked right now, and Renegade is only the first.
Sorry, it was Sonic Soul. Sonic Soul.
Nice.
We'll be challenging Diaphone on Monday for that title.
That's the one. But speaking of DNF, Tyrant, the note.
Oh, my God!
I hope everyone has time.
Yes,
because we have a note.
Do you have time, guys? Because this is going to take a while to get through.
So Swiftmaster got butchered, and then it's like very small changes. But you know what? Like, as much as I've read, right, Goichi is dropping Swiftmaster. It looks like Swiftmaster is not that much of a master anymore. But is it that surprising? Darren, the game is like, what, 3 months old, and they're giving a patch. Like, what do you think about that patch?
To be honest, like, from what you see here, it looks like it's only nerfs. They didn't buff any characters yet.
Yeah.
But honestly, Swiftmaster is still really good. Like, I was talking to Deviants about this. It's like a UK Swiftmaster player that came 5th, I believe, at Versus Fine. And he played in Renegade actually on Monday, and he told me that like he doesn't feel like Swiftmaster's even that bad. Like he feels like Swiftmaster's fine, and we saw it. Like, bro, he went down to the wire versus Kez, like it was last game, last round. And yeah, Swiftmaster to me, it looks pretty much the same. The character's still gonna just, you know, get non-stop pressure, put you in an Oki situation, make you guess. It just means that the damage is a bit less and the meter regen is a bit less. So he maybe has to hit you like maybe one more time. But so he's not 2 touching you anymore, he's 3 touching you, which is he's still really good. Like,
fair enough. What does the chat think about this? Because I don't know, like, obviously I don't play DNF, I only like watch it, right? But my view is a bit, you know, the game is still new, and it's like what, the game's like maybe 3 months old. I don't expect a patch after 3 months to change the entire game. I think they just changed what they saw was broken, aka Swiftmaster, and then we're like, let's see the other characters being investigated before we decide to buff or nerf. Like, you don't really change a game after 2 to 3 months, right?
Yeah, I feel like as well, people, I don't even think people can complain about this, because they nerfed the things people were complaining about. People were complaining about that Hitman DP, especially, and Swiftmaster being like insanely strong, right? That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. They nerfed the 2 biggest nerfs here is obviously Hitman and Swiftmaster. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, Striker can still guard break you. This doesn't really change. Grappler getting nerfed in any way is a surprise to me. But yeah, I feel like the main thing they should have changed in this patch, the main thing, the glaring issue, I feel like, is guard cancel. Guard cancel frame advantage varies from character to character, right? You have trash character. Well, he's not trash, but like you have lower tier characters like Ghostblade that are 0 on hit on guard cancel, right? Which is like one of the only defensive mechanics in the game, bro. Like, why is Ghostblade 0 on hit, but Hitman is like plus 20 plus, you know, 20 plus or whatever he is on hit? Like, it just means he can get in again, and it just means that it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I think they should make every character have the same advantage, because it costs the same for everyone. It costs 100 mana for everyone, and it should be the same frame advantage on hit, in my opinion. That's the main thing they should have changed. That's what I think anyway. But yeah, I don't know. This is just a very strange patch. I feel like you said, like,
I think it was a fix for the patch, right?
Yeah. That may be a fix, but don't forget the World Tour is underway now as well. So Goichi got that quick win with Swiftmaster. He got that quick win, and now he's like, cool. I'm chill. I'm qualified for the finals. This character got nerfed. I'm balling. I'm fine.
Big GG's. He's got time to learn a new one. Kaisa is saying problems. There is no info about further patches. I mean, usually on fighting games, I don't expect a big patch less than 8 months after release, right? It's like usually the season is about a year. You know, you and I have gone through playing against SF5 Chun for a year, playing against freaking like season 1 Gotenks and Adol Gohan. Any season 1 always has, like, you know, this kind of stuff. So, I mean, patience to play the game. You don't need patches every day. Like, we'll see. I think we'll just see, like, if this helps other characters start to exist as well. That's the main question. I think they kind of want that kind of like Marvel 3 broken factor to the game as well, if you want. I feel like they like that, and they like that. That's the kind of rep the game's got. But I feel like they do need to be a bit more transparent about the future of the game, if they're going to support it, if there's going to be DLC. Still no DLC announcement. I'm surprised.
No, nothing. So I don't know. I hope they don't just abandon the game after this. But
it feels weird that 3 months after there's not even awards about DLC. Was it just okay, game done, GG's, thank you? Or,
I don't know. It's honestly, it might be. We don't know yet. I mean, the fact that they only did nerfs and no buffs makes me think that they are going to plan a bigger balance patch down the line. Whether they do that mid-season, I have no idea. Wait, when's the Arc Revo finals? Is it early next year?
I think it's early next year. Yeah.
Okay then. Well, maybe we have to wait for that then. I don't know.
Maybe the one. Well, we'll see a bit more with DNF.
Launcher players in shambles right now.
Launcher player, keep coping, guys. It will come eventually. But up next, a quick one. I wanted to mention Coast Throwdown is this weekend, and we were talking about this at the last roundup, right? How can events make more money? And Coast Throwdown has decided to go the Macherino way, which is something a lot of people have been mentioning. Crowdfunding is quite good, and look, they published it like today. It's already at like 1.2k. They're planning to like spread this depending on games. And, you know, I haven't even claimed my code yet. I've done. See, I just added money to the prize pool with one click. So
guys,
a lot of you guys can pretty much do the same by going to this page. I'm just going to put this page for you guys if you want to support the tournament. It's a cool thing, you know, to see that they're experimenting, they're doing a bit more. Obviously, it's a major, so they get like much more code than the usual. You know, usual events is like 50 codes. This one gets 400 because
it's a major, right?
Yeah, it's a major. Shout out to Macherino, obviously, for supporting. And I wonder how high they'll go, but it's a great thing to add.
The way I see it is, right, guys, if these people are spending their own money, time, putting their blood, sweat, and tears into these events, and providing you with free entertainment, the least you can do is claim a free code or contribute in some way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and they put you in a raffle. If you contribute in any way, there's actually a raffle for plenty of like cool stuff. You know, Evo merch, Asteroid 40, Macherino hoodies, plenty of stuff. You know,
that's sick.
Available.
Yeah,
there,
man. Like, get involved. Don't forget, guys. Like, we're all part of the community. You're part of the community. I'm part of the community. We all come together to do this thing that we love. So, you know, why not support the players, support the event, support the staff? At least click the code. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you can contribute more and you want to put more in and make the event more hype, you want to raise the stakes, you can as well. So I think this is a great thing. Yeah, definitely. That's what I want to see more. Shout outs to ECT. It's this weekend. You know, on a ton of games. It's a Dragon Ball World Tour event as well. So definitely one that I want. That I will be watching. It's a power event, right? It's a power event. It's a power event, yes. Wow, that's so cool. I might be restreaming or like having. I'll be watching anyway because. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if every code gets claimed, it's $100 extra exactly, Kasai. You know, you can follow the people on the right. You can like make a donation if you want support. It's, you know, like plenty of ways to help, and that's what we like on this because that's what we want. Help events is one of the things that we want to do. But how about helping yourself, Tyrant? Because we've got a big topic to talk about. And the first one is, of course, the big Hitbox one. And for this, I would like to, you know, welcome our two guests joining us today. Of course, it's the two of us, but because we want to talk about more fighting games, not just us in there. We got two Javits and Flawless Deku joining us today. Welcome, man like Javits, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Just happy to be here.
Good and ready to do shortcuts super on the Hitbox?
I'm still in the learning phase, man. But yeah, I definitely want to join the cheat gang for sure, just to kind of see what the hype is all about. Cheat gang is there. Flawless Deku as well. Thank you for joining us. You guys in the chat might be less familiar to him, but us in the UK know him. You know, like I've known that guy since SF4. Used to like run unlimited sets, you know, with the Fei Long. And he's back, and he's been. You guys might have seen him on SF6 on YouTube because he's been posting a ton of cool stuff, and we'll talk a lot about this. You ready for SF6? Oh, I lost your sound. My God, I lost your sound again. He's mute. He will be back.
Hello?
Ah, you're back. You're there.
There we go.
There we go. I'm just saying thanks for having me, guys.
We are there, man. Thank you for joining. The first thing I want to talk with you guys about is, you know, the first topic, the Hitbox, right? Like it's been the one thing everyone is talking about these days. You know, Hitbox is Hitbox fair? Javits, you've been recently, like, how long have you been playing, like, on Hitbox? You've just, like, moved?
I would say on and off. The first time I ever bought one of my own was last year. Then I tried it for a few weeks, didn't really jive with it, so I gave it away to Zaffarino, and then I just bought another one at Evo that I'm trying to learn on, giving it a second shot, and mainly because I just wanted so I got the Evo edition snack box just because it's so small and easy to travel on.
Yeah, I love this one.
I was carrying around my stick, and I was like, man, do I really want to carry around this big thing? Like,
yeah,
I want to try just learning this, and right now is the perfect time, I think, just because similar to how so many players switch to playing on PC for Street Fighter and learning Hitbox, right now, you know, Street Fighter 5 is kind of I don't want to say on its way out, but we're in that like transitionary period where we kind of know about Street Fighter 6 already, and where some people are probably not actively competing, so they're able to kind of try new controllers and new configurations, and that's kind of where I'm at, where I feel like, hey, you know, right now is a good time to probably learn a new controller and see if I will stick to it for Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, I think it's a good time, you know, like to experiment. Like that's what you said, right? It's the ideal one. Tyrant, I've seen that device you have at home too, yeah.
Yeah, definitely pick one up. I mean, I feel like it's definitely a good time to do it. Yeah, man, like it's weird at first. It's very, very strange. So yeah, you got the stick there.
Boomer squad, bro.
Like, come on, man. What you doing? Simple. Look. I feel like the thing that really set off this discussion was that 4-frame Ryu super on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like when people saw that, and the guy literally just like does like this and gets like a super. Like that really sparked the discussion, and a lot of people kind of realized how easily you can do inputs with this thing. So
yeah, so I do want to talk about that clip specifically,
go for it.
Just because it is an extremely impressive technique that you're able to do on a hitbox style controller. But if you actually try that yourself, it requires so much precision to do that cleanly within 4 frames perfectly, that's actually not a practical way to learn that. You know, like let's say if your decision is to try to learn how to super through a fireball or on reaction to something, that's not the one that you want to learn. You might want to learn something that you could do a little more consistently and on both sides, because also with that particular technique, it's much more fluid doing it on the P1 side, because you're sliding your hand away, and then with your right hand you're able to press the forward button and the punch button with the same hand, because they're right next to each other. So I kind of feel like they wanted to show something really cool that you can do on a hitbox, and that sparked like this big discussion. But when you look at it in the grand scheme of like, is this doable consistently and in a real match? I don't think so. I don't think we're there yet. And I feel like they I don't want to bash hitbox or anything like that. It's not what I'm trying to say by this, but I almost feel like they did that more for engagement.
They won.
Good or bad,
235,000 views. What's the tweet saying? Yeah,
have a lot of discussion and put more eyes on hitbox as a product, which is cool. It's smart to do that. Yeah. But I just don't think that that's a practical input to want to do for that technique.
Yeah, but
so what you're saying, Javits, is there's a lot of outtakes they had to do before they got this. You're saying show me the full tape.
Yeah, no, maybe that person is really good on it, but I don't think that's something that you would regularly want to do all the time.
Okay, but obviously I don't think there's an argument about Hitbox offering you stuff that's better. I think one of the best examples is if you play Guile. Guile Super is definitely faster on Hitbox, just because you don't have to go through neutral, right? So by default, if you play Guile, Kawano just won Evo, and with punishing with Parabellum so consistently, all this stuff is definitely these small advantages. But Flores Deku, have you tried the Hitbox before or not? Do you play at all?
I have Hitbox, no.
Oh, I have lost your game.
Oh. Wi-Fi warrior confirmed.
Use that to be honest.
Wi-Fi confirmed.
I hope you don't play SF6 on that Wi-Fi, Gordon, because it's going to be laggy, bro.
The internet said don't talk about Hitbox.
Censored.
Go for it.
I said I've not tried it. I've not tried a Hitbox, no. I like arcade sticks. I'm old school like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll try one. Even if it does give you a slight advantage, I think I'm just more comfortable with a stick, so I will just use it for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to bother, it makes sense, right? Tyrant, do you think you're going to move to Hitbox? You have one, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was trying it. I've been practicing on it sort of every other day or so. And yesterday I tried it on Marvel for the first time, and I just couldn't get my head around it that easily as I could with other games. Like Dragon Ball, I feel is pretty straightforward with the Hitbox. But Marvel was really hard because there's a lot more inputs. You need to be a lot more precise because there's not really that many shortcuts in Marvel 3. So like I was trying to do the Dante combos, and I was just like, bro, this is so hard. Like I can't get my head around it. So I feel like certain games might be easier than others. But I think once you're used to it, you'll be able to use it for anything, right? It's just it just comes down to that muscle memory type thing. But yeah, like if like the learning curve, I feel is pretty steep on it. But I feel like once you've got it, like you can't argue, it's most likely going to be the most optimal way to play, right?
I mean, it's the most optimal, but then that's the big question. Javits, is a hitbox cheating?
So I say, I'll say it this way: Hitbox is not cheating, with the caveat, with a small caveat that it has certain techniques that you're only able to do on a hitbox, and it can be perceived as cheating. So I'll explain why. So the reason why I don't think it's cheating, and I'll quote Brian F. Because he recently also just started learning on a hitbox. Think of it as a tool that is harder to master, but gives you better rewards. So it's almost as if the benefits that you gain from learning how to play on a hitbox, it justifies the things that you're able to do with it. Because it is, like Tyrant mentioned himself, a lot of things that are pretty simple and intuitive to do, like on a pad or on a lever, on a joystick. On a hitbox, it does require more precision. So even though you do need, you do have access to certain shortcuts that might make certain things easier, sometimes you just want to do like a dragon punch or just move around and, you know, block, and you need more precision. And if your fingers are not precise and you're holding either too many buttons or you know, holding opposing directions at the same time or something like that, it could cause issues. So you do actually have to kind of unlearn a bunch of things, learn a bunch of new things, retrain the way that you think about inputs and movement. And in the end, you end up with this, like, these new powers, but you have to put in some work to get there. So it's not something that you can just easily pick up and next day you're getting tournament results with. A lot of the people that are doing well on Hitbox had to have a transition period of about a year, sometimes more. A couple of people that I've spoken to that are now very proficient on Hitbox and formerly were either stick players or pad players, it took them almost a full year just to even get decent. And by decent, I mean like where you're playing at a level where you're not thinking about what your hands are doing. And that's something that's very, very important in fighting games, where you want to, you know, you only have a certain amount of mental resources that you're able to allocate to controlling what the opponent is doing, what can my character do, resources, all these little things that you are putting, you know, a cost in your mind. And if you're allocating more resources to thinking about how you're going to try to move, then you might not be thinking about the match or other things that, you know, could otherwise affect your performance in the end. So I do think that you should be rewarded if you put more time into something that is more advanced. Now, the caveat to that is that, and this is where the arguments come in about why they consider it cheating. On a hitbox, because you're able to hold opposing directions at the same time, you gain access to certain techniques that you are literally impossible to do on a pad or a joystick. Such as, I'll give you an example. On this type of device, you have, you know, your directional buttons, which are here. You're able to, let's say, if you're trying to crouch to do a flash kick, you're able to hold down and back, which is a defensive position. And while you're holding down and back, you're able to do up and kick. And you don't travel through neutral, and you immediately go back into a charging position at the earliest possible frame. That's literally physically impossible on a joystick because you can't be in two positions at the same time. So it grants you like an ungodly, super fast, instant move for a move that was designed to have a limitation, you know, like when you have to charge and you have to, like, you know, do the motion a little bit cleanly. So it gives you like a perfect input that, and some people may see that as unearned or just straight up unfair because another controller can't do that.
I know that there were certain techniques you can do with a pad, similar to like what you just said, Javits, where like I think Knuckle used to do this as well. Yeah. Like he would charge like this and then do like forward on the other stick with the sonic boom to like do it. So I think that it depends on the game, right? Because I think that works with Street Fighter, but I'm not sure if that works with other games. I don't know how it works entirely. But
so it's really, that's one of the things, right? That's my personal argument against the whole quote-unquote cheating thing, which is like a lot of games have different ways to understand how, like, what two buttons at the same time mean.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, there are specific rule sets about, like, what a pad should do when you press two buttons at the same time, which is generally speaking on Street Fighter. Like, if you press two buttons at the same time, it should, like, to be CPT friendly, to be CPT legal. The rule is that if you press left and right at the same time, it should never be the last one you pressed. But that's one of the things that's changing first. Then the second thing is the way Street Fighter understands two buttons at the same time. If your hitbox doesn't clean it itself, that's what creates that 4-frame, like, perfect kind of super. So where are the devs? Like, where are the devs just coming down and saying, hey, this is illegal, like, don't do that, we're gonna, like, do whatever in the game to make sure that this does not happen? Or vice versa, comments like, oh cool, you have found the secret exploit that's in the game, like, play and have fun. But as part of this, right, as you said, it really depends on how the game itself goes. And for Street Fighter especially, like, there are shortcuts that will never work on KOF but work on Street Fighter, because Street Fighter considers, like, down and forwards a quarter circle motion. KOF requires the diagonal.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
that super motion will never be, like, efficient in KOF, because KOF will ask you to get that diagonal. So that might be something you could do, like, quote unquote force all of the inputs, which will inherently make stick slightly harder, because, you know, initially they made all these shortcuts to make sure that people who play stick and pad can do quarter circle motions easily, right? You play ST, Tyrants, it's harder to do a quarter circle motion on ST than on SF5. Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about with yesterday when I was playing Marvel on the Hitbox. Like, that game again, requires the corners, and you know, to do a Dragon Punch on that game compared to, like, SF5 or SF4 is a lot harder, because you actually have to be precise. Capcom specifically puts shortcuts in the Street Fighter games these days because they want casuals to be able to do the moves and feel like they've done something cool. But when it comes to, like, competitive level, things like missing out the diagonal for fireball inputs, or, you know, quarter circles, it opens up almost a Pandora's box of, okay, so what's allowed now, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You see so many people getting results with Hitbox, but I mean, it's hard to say, really. I don't really think I have a problem with it at all. I think just play on whatever's comfortable for you personally. Like, it's, you know, at the tweet the other day, I was like, regardless of what you play on, it's not going to make you a better player at the end of the day. Like, if you're not good at the game, buying a Hitbox ain't going to make you suddenly good at the game. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean, Javits? Didn't you win Evo yet to just switch to Hitbox?
So funny that we're talking on the subject of diagonals. I do want to clarify something in regards to Street Fighter V. So the diagonals are not required in Street Fighter V specifically for supers, but they are still required for fireball motions. So you cannot get a fireball by skipping diagonals. So I suspect that they did that so that it enables you to be able to do supers really fast, and that's something that you're able to exploit more on a hitbox, obviously. And it is possible on any device, but it's just that you can do it really, really fast on a hitbox.
Okay. I didn't know.
Now, yeah. So now, in terms of, you know, that part of the discussion where people are saying, like, oh, well, hitbox won't make you a better player. I agree. Hitbox will not teach you how to play. It will not make decisions for you. Now, but the issue that some people are having is that now, if you do have players of comparable skill levels, and one player has access to moves, let's say, that are 2 milliseconds faster, at what point do we start to say, hey, you know, this is not fair, or, like, who's going to police that and why? I think personally that should be on the dev level, that they should decide what inputs are acceptable by the game engine, and they should really test, you know, how it translates on all the devices that are currently popular and available. Because I don't think you should punish the players who are just using what is available to them, you know, and just because if there was a shortcut that was available on a stick, you're gonna tell me that you're not gonna do it because you play, you would do it.
I mean,
if you play on
all of
stick
us
too.
played SF4 where you needed the stick to blink. You don't blink on pads.
Everybody's gonna use whatever shortcuts are available to them, and if there are devices that enable you to do those certain shortcuts better to have an edge, I completely understand why you would want to play on such a device. I don't think you should blame the players for that or call them cheaters. They're just doing what's available in the engine.
That's true.
But aside from me believing that the devs should be the ones in control of that, the devices themselves do have different ways of how they send the inputs to be interpreted by the game. For example, because I don't know if you remember that when Daigo was first learning Hitbox,
I remember.
Super.
At one point he was using one that they called the Gaffro box, and that one. So right now on hitboxes and snack boxes, if you do left and right at the same time, it gives you a neutral input. But if you do down and up at the same time, it prioritizes up. So you still have access to the instant flash kicks, but you wouldn't have access to like instant sonic booms while holding back. Whereas on the Gaffro box, which was, I believe it was banned for a little bit. I don't know.
It was banned.
I think they unbanned it.
I think it's technically still banned because by rule sets, left and right should always be neutral. And as you said, right, what happened in the Gaffro box is if you do left, and it would basically only take the latest button.
Input.
So if you do left and then press right at the same time, it would enter right, but then when you release right, it would enter left again. So Daigo could do super by holding left and do right button. Which was deemed like illegal.
And then like constantly have Sonic Boom charged as well, and you could just easily do Sonic Booms non-stop. Like it was kind of crazy. And that's called the SOCD, right? Like whatever the how the game interprets, how the device interprets left and right inputs, right?
And that's true, Sharon. Why did they decide? Because that's actually in the rules. So if you read the Capcom rules, the Capcom Pro Tour rules, it says that left and right should be neutral, and down and up should be neutral, but prioritizing up is okay. Which is a bit weird. Like I don't understand what the mental gymnastics.
I don't understand why they made that exception for up. Because if the rule is that opposing directions should be neutral, then I feel like it should be consistent across the board, and that would probably reduce a lot of the angst and discussions that people are having. But for whatever reason, up is allowed as having the prioritizing input, and a lot of people are taking advantage of that.
It's really weird. I found the tweet. Let me show you that tweet. That's Orich who posted this one here. So the rule said this, right? When both right and left are input at the same time, a controller must either maintain both of the inputs or abandon both. And if you maintain both of the inputs, what happens is that Street Fighter 5 will consider it neutral. Because if you send both inputs to SF5, SF5 says it's neutral. When both up and down are input at the same time, it is recommended that it either maintain both or abandon. However, as an exception, a controller may take upward directional inputs.
That's so weird.
It really feels like Daigo DM them like, guys, please, I need my flash kicks. And they're like, okay, cool.
That's what it looks like. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the weird like exception. It's weird that they allow that exception is currently still being allowed.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Yeah, that seems very suspicious. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why that is.
I really don't understand. Like, that rule really feels like, we have rules unless you're a guile player.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to make assumptions or anything, but this looks just like it could be related to like the actual Hitbox products itself. I don't know. I don't know. It just looks very suspicious.
Or also, because someone on the chat saying this, right? Flakeless saying is prioritizing up if you press down and up on keyboard. So I think the reason why these rules exist is
maybe
because
it has to.
SF5 probably.
Maybe it's the game. Yeah.
SF5 probably does that by default, so it's okay if the Hitbox does the same thing as SF5.
Yeah, I
guess. But all of this, I guess, maybe devs could talk to us.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but another thing also is that even with having opposing directions being interpreted as neutral, there are still abilities that you can exploit with that. So, for example, one of the things that you can do on a hitbox is if you're holding forward and you double tap back, since that counts as neutral, you can get like a walking forward dash inhumanly faster than you would be able to do that on a stick or pad.
Yeah.
Just because you never have to manually go to neutral and like let go or whatever. So it creates like, even when they try to like create these little rules like, oh, you know, opposing directions equals neutral, there's still ways to exploit the capability of a hitbox. So it still does have a lot of these inherent advantages that can be used in creative ways. I still don't think that we're at a level where there isn't basically any player anywhere in the world that is so good with all the shortcuts that it just looks like they're fighting a bot. Like, we're not there yet, and I don't think until we get to that point, I don't think hitboxers should be considered cheaters. I just think they're just playing on something that gives them a little bit of advantage on some things, some cleaner movement. But I don't think it's cheating. I really don't.
I'm actually sorry. I'm just asking you a quick one. I'm actually on the Hitbox website now, on their page about SOCDs, and yeah, it does come down to the game. He says there's many games with unresolved SOCDs. Apparently, Vanilla Marvel 3 does not resolve left and right, and it gives you both inputs, so you can literally block both sides. You just hold that button, you hold both buttons, and it just literally will block both sides, which is just crazy.
Yeah, but games have to step up. I think the thing is this, right?
It's the game.
This, like, until today, no game has ever been developed by people who know Hitbox exists. But we're in 2022. Now we all know Hitbox exists, and Japan can't even pretend they don't, because the Evo champ is on Hitbox, Taigo and Tokido are on Hitbox. Like, everyone knows what Hitbox is now, so the ball is on the devs, side. If they think that, I mean, they have to know that they're designing a game that's also for Hitbox. Because if you think of fighting game design, fighting games used to be designed for arcade stick first, right? Because arcades. Yes. And then eventually, devs were like, hold on. Like, actually, only Japan plays on arcades and a few big cities in the West. Most people are on console. How about we try to actually make sure that pads have an equal chance? And they changed the way they design it to make sure that pads are part of the equation. And now it's their time to also move forward to make sure that Hitbox is, like, not giving you a quote-unquote unfair advantage.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But, yeah, Hitbox, yes, Hitbox, no, we're all learning. But there's one thing, you mentioned it, Javits, right? Hitbox is a cool thing to have. Because there's a game that's coming out, well, I won't say soon, because, like, soon, hopefully, right? Like, it's a soon TM. For now, Street Fighter 6 coming very soon. All of us had the chance to give it a try in the last few events. Flawless Deku, you were at Versus Fighting, and you had a lot of fun there. How did you like that game? How did you like SFX?
Wicked, man. I had a lot of fun. I think this game's going to be way more neutral heavy than SF5, for example, which is something I'm happy about. But yeah, it feels fluid. One thing about 5 I didn't like too much is it feels a bit clunky for me personally. But this one was very fluid. It felt nice to like walk back and forwards and see it again. So yeah, pretty excited.
What are you playing, Jamie?
He just seemed like the most unique and interesting character so far.
And so he has Rekka as an attention, yeah?
Exactly, yes. Even he's got the Nakali hair as well, so that's both my characters from the last 2 games. So I had to represent, yeah.
That's the one. Javits, you also had like a lot of fun, lately on the game. Had some time, and you've been very diligent in this, right? Like taking a ton of notes on the system, on things that the system does and does not. Like, what's fundamental SF6 saying to you?
So I would say the first thing that you notice when you sit down and play the game is walk speed feels nice with all the characters that are in the build so far. No one walked like really slow, and the buttons that you use primarily to attack with, like for I'll give an example for Ryu. It's like crouching medium kick. That's the button that you want to be using because you cancel into special moves. It has good range, good speed. Right off the bat, you notice that it has good range compared to a lot of the normals that a lot of the initial characters of Street Fighter V were. So Street Fighter V when that game came out, a lot of people kind of complained that the buttons feel stubby. Yeah. And it created a situation where in order to hit each other, you have to be very close to each other. Yeah. So it kind of created a little bit of chaos. And if you combine that with the priority system and crush counters, a lot of times you'd just be trying to go for a poke and you might get blown up with like a crush counter or something, and then it would lead to like, you know, a really uncomfortable situation of playing close. Combined with the fact that it was hard to whiff punish a lot of normals as well, because they didn't add, throughout the years, they've been adding recovery to certain moves. And especially in the last patch of Street Fighter V, they added to a lot of moves that were problematic, like notably Karen's crouching medium kick. For years, she was just dominating everyone with that really long low attack, and a lot of characters didn't have a way to consistently whiff punish it. And then in the last version, they added a lot of recovery to change that. Now, it's fast forward to Street Fighter 6, it feels like all those buttons that are like that you're able to use as your primary poke that leads into something, has good range, but also is very whiff punishable. So and then the whiff punishes in that game in Street Fighter 6 are really hard because they added a mechanic called punish counter. And punish counter is, think of a counter hit where you get like additional damage or additional frame advantage, but rather than being like a counter hit which is hitting an attack during a startup frames, punish counter is when you hit an attack during the recovery frames. So if you do something and it gets blocked, or if you whiff something and then you get hit, now your opponent has access to even bigger damage and punishes than they would have in other games. So it makes like the footy game you have to be much more careful, much more precise, and you're gonna see players that are really good in that back and forth measuring stick with their buttons type of game are gonna have a lot of success in Street Fighter 6. So I think somebody like Punk, who is known for his Karen play, is going to be extremely deadly in this game.
Yeah, I can see that. That's one of the combos like that you were labbing, obviously, right? Literally off a punish counter, you whiff throw, and you get what, like a good 65% of life with this.
You get a massive amount of damage. So definitely, they're emphasizing more on that footsie game, but from a little bit of a further distance, where you don't have to be so close to each other. In order to get damage.
Does punish counter? Is it like counter hit damage? Is it like more damage?
I don't know if it's more damage, but it is certainly more frame advantage than even traditional counter hits.
Okay. So, wow. That's
for
crazy.
example, we tested with Ryu. Ryu without any counter, like if he's not able to link, let's say, standing jab into crouching medium kick or crouching medium punch. But then with regular counter hit, he's able to link standing jab to crouching medium punch, but not crouching medium kick. But then punish counter, he's able to do standing jab to crouching medium kick. So he has even more advantage on punish counter.
Okay.
So my guess, I don't know the exact numbers, obviously, but my guess is that whatever your normal is on counter hit, it might add like maybe 2 frames of advantage. And on punish counter, it might be 3 or 4 frames of advantage that you're getting.
I see.
Yeah,
that's kind of
cool. Is that right?
Yeah, it's very anime game standard as well. Lots of anime games have this. Like if you hit something on whiff, you get like fatal counter as your names or like stuff like this. So it's a cool thing. But I'm the same. Like when I played, I think the first thing I noticed was, God damn, my buttons are actually going far. Like when you get used to, as you said, SF5. It's really fun. I was playing Jamie, I was playing against Jammers, he pressed the button, I did sweep from like 10 million kilometers away, and the sweep we punished, and I was like, okay, cool, I can actually keep my distances. And I know Flawless Deku, that's your game, that's your gameplay, that's what you like.
Not changed since Fei Long, so yeah, that's the game plan. Yeah, I think the punish counter as well is that now you're going to be able to get a lot of damage just from punishing things as well. It's not even just with punishing, it's so if you do a -3 move now in this game, assuming that the jabs are similar to the SF5, instead you can do crouch jab, crouch medium, drive rush, and get a proper punish. Whereas in 5 you probably could only get like, jab into DP or something like that. So I think punish counter is going to be a massive in this game. Also, depending how command grabs work out with it as well. I'm just imagining, you know, a proper grappler using it and getting a punish counter SPD or something that I imagine being pretty big. So yeah, I think that's gonna be those are the two biggest things I think in this game: punish counter and drive rush. I think they're gonna be pretty important, especially drive rush. I think that's gonna be used pretty much anytime you touch them or you get a conversion. I think if you have the meter, you know, people are probably going to go into the drive rush combo. So from footsies, you know, whether it's like you do a meaty and you get a counter hit or whatever. And yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool to watch, especially players like Tokido, you know, who's pretty optimal. You know, he's always doing the thing that gets the most damage in the right situation. So now if you give him another resource like drive gauge, and you know, you can, I think, yeah, doing the right situation is going to be more complicated now. So it'll just like open up a lot more like variations, and it'll be cool to watch for sure.
I feel like as well, one of the things people are, I don't want to say concerned about, but one thing people have noticed about SF6 is that, you know, it takes away a lot of the heavy combo game that we've seen perhaps in early Street Fighter games, especially SF4, right? SF5 kind of moved away from that a little bit, but this one seems to be all about the neutral side of things, you know, and with punishing, like you say, them including punish counter is obviously a sign of that. But how do you guys feel about the combo potentially in SF6? Does it feel kind of limited, or do you think it's just right? Let's go with you first, Javits.
I think it's pretty nice that the way that they're implementing drive rush, they want to give players more ways to string together their moves and create kind of their own combos, like almost kind of like in a free-form way. Like right there, that clip that is up on the screen, we found that with Chun-Li within just a few minutes. And basically what I did there was standing heavy punch canceled into her new stance. I believe it's called Serenity Stream, and then the light punch from that stance into drive rush into standing light punch. And then the unique property of drive rush is that not only is it like a dash that's similar to an FADC, but the button that you decide to do after, or rather during that dash, it has two unique properties. It has like sliding momentum, similar to Colleen's V-trigger dash, where after the attack, you're still in point blank range to do another close attack.
Okay.
And that attack that you did itself also gains access to way more frame advantage. So you're able to extend the combo into another normal or something that you would normally not be able to link into. So for example, in that clip, I did standing heavy punch into the stance, light punch, drive rush, and then light punch, which gains a ton of advantage, and I was able to link into Chun-Li's back heavy punch. Normally that would not link. And then then the back heavy punch back into stance, into launcher, and then you can like get so creative with how you're able to extend your combos. So I don't know if the combos will be as long as Street Fighter 4, but definitely it has more of that feel where you can kind of free form your way into, do you want to extend into damage or Oki or just corner carry or whatever the case may be, but you have more choices as to how you can extend your damage. So I do think that the combo freedom is something that they're trying to bring back.
I hope so, yeah.
Especially also with the fact that you have two meters that you can use for your combos. So you have the drive gauge, and then you also have your super meter, and then you're able to kind of string those together in different ways that can have for extended flashy combos.
I mean, it's cool, but my only worry, because, I mean, you know me, I'm a man of the combo. Like, until today, I now play Gil on SF5 just because he's literally the only character in this game. I do combos, and I'm like, yeah, I have cool combos. But, that's what I like in fighting games anyway. My only thing about this is, as you said, right, I think Drive Rush is great for this, but, like, it's 3 bars, right? I don't know, like, my personal approach to games is I'm stingy, right? I'm the kind of guy who plays an RPG, and all of the items you get, I never use them because maybe I'll leave them later, but I don't because I'm like this. When I look at SF6, I'm like, bro, I have 6 bars and I need to use half of them for one cancel. Unless it kills, do I really want to use it? Like,
well, too strong if it was 2 bars, to be honest, because if you do it off of a hard button, it feels plus. It feels very plus. Like Jamie, for example, you could do like a command grab. You know, you can frame trap, do a low. So on block is a guaranteed mix-up. So if you could do it for 2 bars, you'd be doing it in strings like all the time, I think. Also, I kind of like it because it's like you have 6 bars. Okay, I know if I whiff punish, I can get 1 drive dash, I can get 1 EX move, or sorry, OD move. And I know that it's gonna charge up a bit before. So it's going to make you think way more before you pick your combo, you know, and I'm all for that. And you have to be a bit more wary about exactly, you know, where your resources are, you know, your super beta, your drive gauge. So I think it'll make it more exciting, personally. And I think it might be strong.
Yeah, and another thing that regards to the cost of using drive gauge in general is that a lot of people may not be aware of this, but so drive moves have a certain cost, like how you mentioned that drive rush, if you cancel it from a button, is 3 bars. But if you're below 3 bars, you can still do drive rush. It's just that you will definitely go into burnout. So you don't need the full cost of the move in order to do the drive moves. It's just that if you have only a little bit of meter left, then you will definitely go into burnout state. And burnout state is really bad if you get into that state, because then you can't have access to any drive moves, which you need defensively for parry and to do drive impact to counter their drive impact, a whole bunch of things. So it does give you the option and freedom to use your drive bar offensively in more ways without having the full cost needed to do the move. But then it's at the expense of limiting all your defensive options potentially for a good chunk of the round. So I think it adds a new layer of meter management that wasn't in previous Street Fighter games, and I think that meter specifically is what's going to define this game. I think it's really interesting and kind of cool, actually. And I want to highlight another clip that I sent to you, the one that I did the really big damage combo with Ryu.
Was that the throw punish?
Yeah, the throw punish one. So if you look at that one, the moment I want you to pay attention to 2 things: the timer and the drive meter. So pause the clip here. If you notice, the timer is not moving during the critical art.
I did notice this.
Yeah, so there's no. Yeah, so they're removing the ability to timer scam with doing these long animation supers, but then the drive gauge is still refilling, but not the opponents. So the critical arts, anything that you do with the super meter lowers their drive bar, but your drive bar is still going back up. So even though I did a combo that used 4 drive bars, I gained back 2 in that combo just from doing.
You started at like 2 bars before the super.
Yeah,
and at the end of the super,
all going back. By the time I'm back, I'm back to 4 bars.
Okay.
So
basically, what you're saying is literally drive rush into critical arts is pretty much a 1 bar combo then.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely it's basically like you get 2 bars back, and you also taking away their bar.
Yeah.
So if that Jamie had, I think it's like 2.5 bars that I took away. Mm-hmm. If he only had 2.5 bars, I would have put him in a situation where, then if I drive impact him in the corner, he's definitely gonna get burnt out.
Yeah.
So definitely very strong, very very strong.
You got almost 3 bars out of him, and you know, got them for you. It's definitely a game, right? Like, one of the things with this, I mean, just with the very little I played and everything, but it's like, because you have so many actions bound to that drive bar, it will probably create a lot of different playstyle. You're probably going to have the people who are going to like to stay back and do parry into drive rush into something. You'll have, obviously, the online monkeys will be like drive impact 24/7. You know what I mean? You'll have like the more stylish people. Because even for me, when I was playing, I was just focusing on using like drive rush and drive impact and stuff. And after half an hour, I go play against Matt, and Matt was like, using EX and stuff. Like, you know what? I forgot I can use EX, but I just did not want to use meter that way yet. So I guess it's diversity at least, that was a criticism. That's still a fair criticism of Z5, which is lack of diversity of approach per character. Does that solve it?
I think I don't know if it'll solve it, but I think it allows for more of it. more diversity for sure.
I really like how they've kind of like taken the approach in this game of you can essentially play it your way. You don't have to play a character a certain way if you don't want to. Basically, it's almost a sandbox because you have your character's tool set, and then you have all those other tool sets that you can use from round start if you want. You don't have to play the round a certain way. You don't have to play too conservative at the start of the round if you don't want to. You can do round start EX 3 times if you want.
I'm waiting for the EX button that's plus, bro. Like round start EX zonk.
Yeah, like that's what I like. I actually like that because it's like, you know, it gives you the freedom of playing the game the way you want to play it. You don't have to be forced to play a certain way if you don't want to, or you know, a certain way. You can just kind of make it your own, which is honestly, we need more of that in fighting games. So I'm all for it.
It's a cool one. Yeah. Go for it.
One of the things I noticed also that I found pretty cool that I personally enjoy that is similar to Street Fighter 4 is that all the characters in the build that I played were able to combo 3 light attacks into a special move that knocks down. So in Street Fighter 5, most characters can only do 2 light attacks, and then there's a few exceptions to that, like Ken can do 3, and a couple of other characters can do 3. But it seems like in 6, all the characters were able to do that, and starting from a low. So
that's huge.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that I think is pretty cool.
Do you know what's big about this, Javits? I don't know if you love this one because that's the one I was seeing. Drive Impact is 3-hit armors. So light DP is actually beating Drive Impact if you do it BT. And I think that's why, I think that might be why this is universal. Because if someone does wake up Drive Impact and you do like meaty light into DP, you use the 3 light to react to the impact and punish. So you might be not far off. Go for it, Flawless.
Hit some armor, the Drive Impact, and then the 3rd hit will break.
Yeah,
so
third hit,
tap.
So it's definitely one that might be universal, but
yeah, I feel like there's definitely going to be ways to beat it. Like I feel like I responded to one of Matt's clips that he uploaded, and I basically just asked him what the sequence was that he did, and it was like something like it was parry attempt, Drive Impact, command grab with Jamie, and someone in the comments was like, oh, that what the hell, that's an unreactable 50-50, and it started a discussion about, well, no, you see all these flashes of color, there's definitely time to do something, whether it's like backdash or jump or an invincible move or your own Drive Impact. Like I feel like there's lots of visual cues in this game as well that's really going to help a lot of players navigate whatever you see on screen, whatever option the opponent goes for. There's going to be counterplay, and that's just what we like about fighting games, right? There's going to be solutions to all the mechanics in the game. So I'm looking forward to labbing this game and seeing what people come up with.
I want to see that, punishes with Drive Rush and all that stuff. And you know what? Like, there's a question in the chat I wanted to ask. I'll ask you, Flawless Deku. Any thoughts on overheads being safe on block? Because as far as we've seen, overheads in 5 and like in 6, are safe like SF4.
The overheads. What do you think?
I don't mind it. I think a lot can't combo off of. I think only when you Drive Rush them, you can combo off them because they get enhanced. But I mean, it's kind of like 4, like you said. I'm kind of used to it, It's a nice, cheeky overhead that does decent damage. You don't get too much off of it. It's a little bit of pressure. I like when they're used like that, so I don't really have a problem with it. I think where they'll be used, though, is after Drive Rush. I know that Jamie can combo after his if he enhances it, and then Ryu as well. So there might be some stuff with like Drive Rush resets where you could I got a clip on Twitter. It's you can punish something, example, and then you Drive Rush, and instead of doing the combo, you can overhead reset, do super or do a combo or whatever. So I think those kind of things will happen. But normally they're kind of like a cheeky bit of damage, just to pester your opponent. Although Jamie's, you get a knockdown and a drink, which is kind of cheap, I think. Overhead that knocks down
you need to be level 1, no, with Jamie to get the overhead combo. 1 or 2?
Like first 5 seconds of the game, so.
Yeah, that's true. You just drink at the beginning.
You know what I mean? It's not. I don't think it's too difficult to get drinks with Jamie. Especially if they let. Obviously, I think as time progresses, people be more wary of it and not let him drink for free. But when I was playing, I found a lot of opportunities to sneak in a few swigs. So
I'm rushing this guy down, man. I'm not letting him do it.
He has to sacrifice Oki to drink anyway, right? So like it's. I like that approach on this. And you know, I think that the argument for the overheads being safe for me is that overheads are slow, and technically speaking, this game has drive impact. So if you want to be like this, you can react to the overhead
Parry
startup
as well.
and actually parry or drive impact. So I think it makes sense that they're safe, Javits.
Yeah, I agree. I like that they're safe. I didn't like that they were unsafe for how little reward that you get for them in 5.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just one of those things that you just adapted to, and you know, you played it within the context of the game that you're playing. But I do like that they're you know, safe again, because you know, like I said, you don't get a big combo unless you do the drive rush version. It's just kind of like a way to check their guard, and yeah, it's pretty cool that they brought that back. And one of the things other things that I found also pretty cool for Ryu, I tested for Luke as well, is that I feel like they experimented with this in 5 with Akira and Luke, which were later characters in the game, but all versions of anti-air moves, like Shoryuken type moves, regardless if you do the light version, medium, heavy, it's a true anti-air in Street Fighter 6. So that's really important because in Street Fighter 5, for most characters, they only made it the medium version.
Yeah.
Which for the most part is good, but there are some rare situations where you might want to use, like, you know, a light version of a DP, either because it has a better angle that is closer to the body, or it needs Oki or something like that. Like, you give up a little bit of damage.
That's the Sagat player speaking.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Sagat had some issues with that in 5, but it's nice that that you know that any version of the Dragon Punch that you use in Street Fighter 6 is a true anti-air, because it gives you the choice of having damage versus Oki, and also covering more angles. So
that's true.
Pretty cool that they did that. And it also kind of seems like they're loosening the reins on some of the limitations that the characters previously had in 5. Like Ryu, for example, in 5, they took away his ability to cross up Tatsu, which in turn means he can't get damage into Super, which is something that he used to be able to do in Street Fighter 4, and they brought that back as well. So it kind of seems like they're giving characters straight off the bat a lot of freedom. And just a wider set of tools, so that you know, you don't have a character that starts off limited.
It should be a great one to see with the next characters as well, right? Because there are archetypes we haven't seen yet. I'm personally terrified of a grappler with drive rush, right? Tap drive rush command grab.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be scary for sure.
I can't see Keith being bad in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, think he's gonna be top there, man.
You got. It feels like you got enough universal mechanic to at least combat zoning, you know, because you got parry, you got drive impact, you got stuff that gets you close. It's always the question: how will Dalsim work? Like, how will you get? How do you zone with Dalsim if you could potentially, I don't know, parry into drive rush or whatever?
Parry. I've not seen any footage anyway where you can actually parry a move and then drive rush in. I've not.
Is it only for fireballs?
Parry, so you can't. I don't think you can cancel the parry animation. So you hold it, and then once you absorb the fireball, you parry, and you have to go through the recovery.
Oh, okay. On a successful parry, because I've definitely seen a whiff parry drive rush cancelled.
You can do whiff parry, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think if you hold it for a bit after you parry the fireball, then you can then dash out. But I'm pretty sure you can't cancel the parry animation into a drive rush, if that makes sense. So a successful parry animation. But it would be good for just like gaining ground. So, you know, you parry, perfect parry a fireball, just inch forward, perfect parry a fireball, you know, dash in, that kind of thing. It will help. And then just when they're kind of scared, drive rushing in as well. It will depend how far is Ski, for example, how far is drive rush goes. Same with Dalsim. Theirs will probably function a bit differently, just because it would be a bit unfair if they could just like run as far across the screen as Ryu, for example. Be interested. Dalsim, I think it'd probably be, you know, stand fierce, throw fireballs. You'd still be good at zoning, I think.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see which buttons they make the cancelable buttons for those characters, because right now drive rush is only cancelable on buttons that are special cancelable. So it's not just any button that you're able to do the drive rush mechanic with. It has to be a button that would otherwise already be cancelable into other things anyway. So it's more of a combo extender and on block a way to get in. But I'm really curious at which buttons they're gonna do that for Dalsim with, because it could be a double-edged sword in Dalsim's case, in the sense that, yeah, he's gonna have to deal with all the other characters having drive impact and parry, but he's also gonna have drive impact and parry. So, you know, Dalsim with a parry is kind of annoying. You know, like if you have frame advantage on something and he can still parry you, it could be potentially, you know, tricky mixing him up.
I want to see more. I want to look at like all of the notes that you took, right? Obviously, you mentioned all of this. Yeah, the DPs being true anti-airs. You know, with all of that. Yeah, drive impact, you know, is the one to talk about, right? Like when I was playing the game, my first thought was, alright, the first 3 months of SF6 will be online. How do you deal against drive impact? Because, like, you always need to be ready on this, right? Like, what are, aside from a counter drive impact, do you find any other potential punish to a drive impact?
Yeah, so we were specifically labbing that, like, if you do like a button canceled into drive impact, you can just throw it. Mm-hmm. So that like if you let's say you're in burnout and you know somebody's doing drive impact on you and you can't parry, you can't drive impact back, what are you gonna do, right? Well, you can do level 1 super, it's invincible if you have it, and if someone is doing button cancel into drive impact, you can just throw that. If they do a heavy button into it, you can't jump out because there's not a big enough gap, but you can certainly throw it. So it seems like they are thinking about having some options to deal with it. I don't know though what you can do if your character doesn't have an invincible move.
Yeah.
And they do a meaty drive impact on you in the corner. I think you might be done on that.
Checkmate. Wait, if they do a meaty one, because drive impact is armor not frame 1 on drive impact.
It is armor on frame 1.
So you could still counter with your own drive impact, right? Assuming you're not.
He's saying if you're burnt out, then.
Yeah, if you're burned out.
Peak, but
that's actually peak.
Yeah,
throw? Wake up. Nah, it's meaty, so wake up throw, we don't even get anything.
Super's break, but I'm not sure if they'll all be invincible. Yeah. I guess don't be in that situation is the only answer.
Yeah. You only can get dizzied in the corner too. Like if you block drive impact mid screen, even if you're burned out, you won't get stunned. It's only if you're in the corner. So I'm curious to see how you can deal with it. Meaty drive impact.
Yeah, that will be. I feel like it's going to be one of the first things to really like figure out how to deal against this. It feels like it's the central low to mid level, you know, like mechanic that everyone will be very eager to use, you know, so like you need to get there. But yeah, the meaty one will definitely be an issue. Man, I wish I had access to the lab.
Yeah.
I think
soon.
A lot of answers for it though, you know, you can drive impact, parry, jump back, you know, throw it as you said. So I think at first it will be very, you have to figure out how to beat it for sure, but I think once it like progresses to, you know, the next level, you won't be able to do it willy-nilly because it's quite easy to react to and you can't cancel it of course. So I think people be pretty wary, especially in the corner. But it just means if you're looking for that, then obviously they can move in and they can like, you know, they can take advantage in other ways. So I think that will be interesting to see how that plays out.
Do you get any Oki from throws in 6?
Yes.
Yeah?
At least in the corner you do. J mid screen, no, not really. But in the corner.
And punish counter throws are hard knockdowns.
Okay.
So
you might get some like annoying setups with some characters.
It might be more multiple sometimes to go for like throw punish on like DPs and that, depending on the situation, you know, depending on how much, you know what I mean? Like going for throw punishes a bit more might be better in some situations.
Although all the knockdowns, all the hard knockdowns that I witnessed and experienced so far didn't have enough knockdown time to get a jump in. So you only get enough to get that. So like sweeps are naturally hard knockdowns, but you can't get a jump in from them. You can only get it. You only have enough dash button.
Yeah, you can
Punish
see that
counter
just
sweep?
on that one.
Would punish counter sweep allow a jump?
I didn't know if punish counter sweep had any difference.
Okay.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's potentially the one to see. I don't know if it would enable any kind of, set play or anything. Because obviously, like 5 has been a game that tried to steer away from set play aside from a few characters. Then they finally let set play go, with Menat and stuff. So that's the question with 6, which is, are they going to allow players to set play, or are they going to be, we don't, anytime something is found, we're going to remove it. But I have the most important question, Javits. I have to ask it to you, because you're NYC. Are we really calling these moves OD moves?
Hey man, get with the times.
Does it?
That's OD.
Are we really saying OD EX is done? Like we can't say EX DP anymore? It's
OD it is, man. It's called you gotta say what the move is called, man. OD.
It sounds so, I don't know, man. Like it sounds so it sounds like you're joking, like
Hey man, catch me saying OD, that's all you're gonna say. That's all I'll say about that. Catch man saying OD.
OD, yeah, OD Shoryu. I don't know. It's it's a good one. So
that OD story was OD, bro.
Listen, commentators based in New York are gonna thrive on SF6. They're not gonna need to do any efforts. Everything is OD. So when do we think the game's out though? Like, we still don't know, but hopefully at TGS they announce something.
My guess is probably around the time of EVO Japan, which is in March next year.
My guess is EVO Japan is the first SF6 event.
Yeah, that's my guess as well.
Right.
Like,
Did they say it's SF5?
They did not say any game. They only say it was in, I think it's mid-March? Mid or end of March, I think?
Yeah, I think it's end of March.
End of March, right?
Yeah.
So
But they confirmed SF5 though, right? I thought
I don't think they announced the
one
game.
more SF5 tournament at EVO Japan. You get a
EVO
chance.
Japan 2023. What do we have?
I'm not sure.
I don't think they announced the single.
Street Fighter 5 is in as in EVO Japan.
Yeah. Wait, where
So
did they
I was
announce
thinking
that?
maybe like before actual EVO, but after EVO Japan, that little pocket there. Maybe they're aiming for there.
I'm trying to
They
see.
didn't.
Yeah.
Game, but I'm pretty sure I heard it was SF5.
Yeah. Well, you're reading my theory. I'm gonna have to wait. They said and more. What if it's a?
Oh yeah. Oh, you never know. They could.
My
but-
woke theory was, it's a showcase event for SF6 because obviously by March Capcom Cup would have happened. Obviously there is no extra season of the CPT on SF5. So do you want to add a major tournament after Capcom Cup? You know what I mean? It's like that's my thought process, right? It's like Capcom Cup's done. By the end of Capcom Cup, I think everyone will be like, all right, GG's SF5. Like handshaken. I'm gonna move to 6. But then I don't know, because they said 5. Or they say 5 because they have to.
The same time as well, didn't it?
February.
5. It was like.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're probably like. trying to
February
aim for a
2016.
similar spot.
Yeah, and they said and more Senkola, so my hopium will still
It's right. You can maintain hope. It's right.
will still be active. First stop of the new CPT for SF6. That's gonna be what a month. Well, if you think about it, right? SF5 was released like early February, and the first CPT was Cannes Winter Clash, and it was like end of February / early March. So it was literally month 1 tournament.
Okay.
The first CPT was like 1 month after release. And
Yeah,
Mr.
and
Crimson won that one. All right.
Mr. Crimson
Yeah.
won because he was rinsing an early build of it.
8 frame lag Laura as well, man.
Yeah. I remember he played against. It was against Phenom in the finals, wasn't
Yep.
it?
Phenom
I
Bison.
remember.
That was these were the times.
Bison was struggling in that version, man.
Yeah, that was the
Oof.
one. I am.
Yeah, he had no 3-frame.
He was bad, man.
He was there.
It was just that Phenom was good. Phenom and Problem were good. The character was bad.
He thankfully got blessed later. That's about it. But after a lot of SF, obviously, because we learned a lot, let's go for a little bit of a closing words before we go, of course. So I want to know, obviously, for the two of you guys, as you've played the game a lot, like like thoughts? What are you excited for? And what are you worried about, like in the game? Like, is there anything you've seen in the game that you're like, man, I hope like this doesn't happen because I want the game to be good? Or are you 100% positive, Flawless Deku?
Pretty optimistic. I've enjoyed like the time I've had with the game. It is really fun. It fixed a lot of the issues that I had with 5. You know, just it being, like you said, the stubby buttons, a bit clunky. The whole dash, jump, crush counter mix up, where you're kind of, you know, playing rock paper scissors in neutral. I wasn't really a big fan of that. This seems a bit more like, you know, you can play more reactionary, which is good. What if I'm worried about? I'm interested to see how the grapplers turn out, man. I'll probably end up playing Geef. Low-key was like one of my favorites in 4. I'm sad what they did to him in 5, so I'm hoping they bring him back to a bit of glory. But I think they could be pretty strong. So I guess you could say I'm a bit worried about that. I don't know. The zoning is really good in this as well. It seems like the fireballs are a lot faster, and you know, for example, has much recovery at all is fireball from what I felt. Chun-Li was even less. So I think zoning could be a problem in this game. Obviously, Gao's coming out. He could strong. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, so how about you, Javits?
Yeah, same here, man. I'm very optimistic of the direction of what they've shown so far. And another one thing that I'll add to what Flawless Deku said is that as of right now, and I don't want to jinx anything, Street Fighter 6 does not have a dedicated comeback mechanic.
Oh yeah.
There's no slide activate. There's no ultra meter. There's nothing that you get for getting beat up. Now there is the critical art that you get additional damage when you're on your critical art if you're down to your last 20%, but that only applies to the level 3 super, and you still have to land it the same way that you would have otherwise. You don't gain any new abilities to make it easier to land. So like I said, I don't want to jinx it, but I do like that there is no dedicated comeback mechanic as of yet.
And you need to spend all your super bar to do that. So it's not like even guaranteed, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just a buff on damage, right? It's not even... You don't
it's a
gain
buff on
stuff.
damage. So it seems to be just a buff on damage. So I'm very excited about that. But who knows? You know, this game is completely different. They're taking a completely different approach to a lot of things. Just like as we mentioned, the way that they're handling punishes and whiff punishment in general, and also just the fact that you start off with a full drive meter, all your abilities straight off the jump, is something that's like a little bit unique. It's kind of similar to Alpha 3, where you start off with a full meter. So I like that they're definitely trying to give the game its own identity early on, and not just make it like a mixed bag of all the previous mechanics, which Street Fighter V kind of got a little bit of a bad rep for that there was no defining mechanic for Street Fighter V besides, I guess, button into activate V trigger.
You know what I really like about this, because that's really important to mention? Personally speaking, what I genuinely dislike when SF5 was released is that it seemed like all of Capcom's marketing was SF4 is done, fuck SF4, everything that works on SF4 doesn't work in 5. And I was like, this is a weird approach. Like, if you like SF4, you're being told everything you like is not there anymore. So I'm like, what is there? 6 has really been like, this is a celebration of Street Fighter. If you like any Street Fighter, you're gonna like the game. We got parries, we got alpha counters, we got like stuff from everything. Come and have fun. And I actually really like this. Like the way they've communicated around the game just makes me want to engage with the game, and that's super important, what you just mentioned.
Yeah, that's true. They're definitely showing it off in a way that they're saying like, look at all the cool stuff you can do, rather than, oh, you can't backdash, you can't DP, you can't do this. It's like they're not focusing on the limitations and more focusing on like all these new abilities that they're giving you straight off the bat at the beginning of the round. So it's very cool that they're going in that direction.
So important, man. I'm looking forward to this. What are you, Tyrant? Did you get to play Versus Fighting or Evo, Tyrant, or are you still?
No, for now I've just been sort of standing back and watching the game unfold a little bit. I think next time I get an opportunity, I will sit down and play. But mostly I'm just waiting for the next build, bro, because the jury's in it. Come on, so I'm waiting for that.
Yeah,
I'm definitely waiting for that.
I need to run that that Kimberly set as well. You know, like hopefully we get that build. For those of you who don't know, I think it's like 16th of September. There is Tokyo Game Show, and they will have the new build with Jury, Guile, and Kimberly. And I guess they will also announce a couple of the characters. Show me Rashid. Rashid has drip. I want to see what he looks like in the game. And you know, like I think we'll all hope. But with this, guys, thanks everyone for joining us today. Massive thanks to both Javits and Flawless Deku for joining. You know, having
Thanks, guys.
teaching us a lot about SF6. We are in day minus 200, and we're already being we already have teachers. What a time to be alive. Make sure you follow both these guys if you want your SF6, SF5, SF whatever content, because we are all there. And man like Ty as well, thank you. I'll basically see you tomorrow or like now or whatever, because you know it never stops. With us too, make sure you follow us on twitch.tv/reversalgg, and if not done yet, follow the YouTube, because we're still publishing a ton of videos. We have all of the Evo videos. We have
almost every day. In a minute. We just uploaded a new one today.
Yeah, we have the Lotus that came out today. Plenty of videos. So let's make sure that we all go and hit on that subscribe button. As for us, Reversal will be back live on Monday next week with DNF Duel, and on Wednesday next week. And I'm gonna do the classic, the very esports one. I'm gonna announce an announcement, but you better watch EX Roundup next week. Because I'm announcing the announcement of EX Roundup next week. Which is about all. Thank you guys for joining. I will see you soon. Let's rate Li Joe. I see that he's actually speaking about SF6. So let's do some more SF6. Much love to you guys, and I'll see you very soon on twitch.tv/reversalgg. See you guys.